Hello everyone, welcome back and welcome for those who are new to my YouTube channel. In the previous video, I shared with you some tips and tricks on how to draw the eyes, especially the proportions and the structure of the eyes. And in today's video, I'm going to show you a step-by-step process on how to draw the eyes from start to finish. So let's get started. Okay, here is the reference photo I'm going to try to draw today, and let's get started. So I'll be using this HB pencil and this 8B pencil. So I'll use this one when I start drawing darkest values, and this one is going to be for the laying. The first thing I want to start with is the oval shapes, the primary shapes, and this is basically just the proportions, the laying in general. I start with the shape of the eye socket and determine the proportions of this eye. The angle, the shape of the eye socket, the shape of the eyeball here inside the eye socket. I'm trying to observe all of those angles from a general perspective. So it's okay to erase and adjust at this stage. So this is the eyeball and this is the shape of the eye socket. So now let's go ahead and draw the shape of the eyelids, and these are secondary shapes. I want to start with the contour shape of the eyelid on the angles. So this is going to be the tear dot, and then I'm going to look for the eyelid, and I take into consideration the form around the eyeball, which means it's wrapping around this eyeball. And it's good to draw lines at this stage, but if you can combine lines and curves, it will be much better because it shows the 3D of the object. Okay, so now the bottom eyelid, I draw this shape kind of like this. Try to observe this angle. So now let's go ahead and reveal the planes of the eyelids to show the thickness of the eyelids. So we're gonna start with the tear dots. We're gonna draw the iris. So the iris is almost perfect circle, and the top eyelid is covering the top portion of the iris. So try to cover the upper space of the iris. Okay, and now we have this nice angle like this. So now we're gonna come down here and reveal the top plane of that bottom eyelid, and also we're gonna show this plane right here, the front plane, wrapping around the eyeball. So now I'm gonna come here and draw the upper eyelid, which is this line at the top. Sometimes it has another shape, it has a different shape from this shape. So observe that shape and make sure you are drawing that correctly. Okay, some eyelids are thicker while others are thinner, so it depends on the reference photos. Now let's go ahead and draw the eyebrows. Observe the thickness of the eyebrows, also the angle from this corner here to this one to this one, and look how the last portion is wrapping around the eye socket, the side plane of the eye socket. And another thing, observe the distance between the bottom of the eyebrow and the upper eyelid. And here we have a front plane and a side plane. Draw the pupil, and this, I think it's called cornea, this white rectangular shape. Okay, now it's time to start shading. But before you start shading, make sure your proportion is correct and the structure as well. So now when you start shading, the first thing you want to take into consideration is the light source. And for this particular reference photo, I think the light source is here. There are many ways you can start your shading, and one of the best ways to start is to locate the dark areas first and then add the midtone, later on add the highlights. What I like to do is to start with with shadows. So I draw one value shadows, and then I go ahead and add more darker values in those dark areas. So the dark values are here in the corners, in the corner of the eye socket. The eyebrows, bottom plane of the eyelids, of the top eyelid. At the bottom of the eyelids, we can also go ahead and add shadow to this. Okay, so now we can go ahead and add darker values. like here. I'm still using my HB pencil because it's enough to add darker values. But when I want to add the darkest values, I will need to use my HB pencil. At this stage, don't focus on details, just keep adding shadows and have a nice control over your pencil. So this part is really tricky. That's why it's very important to observe the core shadows. So the core shadows are basically the transition between light and dark. It's a dramatic transition between light family and dark value. By the way, when you draw the eyes, try to observe this change of planes. You can see there is change of planes: top plane, side plane, front plane, bottom plane, top plane, side plane or front plane. I'm gonna switch to my pencil, HB pencil, to add more dark values. I'm gonna add some details. When you draw the eyebrows, try not to draw every single eyebrow, every single hair. If you can separate them in groups, it will be much better. And this one, they go up, and these ones in the middle, they go sideways like this. And before they reach the top, they start going downward. And as you can see, I'm not focusing on individual hair. And when you come here at the top, it gets brighter. When you shade the iris, try to follow the pattern. When you start from here, go sideways. And then when you come down here, you can go up to down and then sideways again. Drawing this shape here can be very tricky. So what I like to do is start from the darkest and then add less pressure the more I go up or around the contour of that dark value. And here it almost touches the top eyelid. And blend it with your finger or a blending stump. Okay, so now it's time to add the eyelashes. So the eyelashes come from the bottom of the iris of the top eyelid, and try to separate them in groups instead of drawing individual eyelashes. And if you can use the side of your pencil, it would be much better. So these are tertiary details. Try not to go too dark at this stage. Just keep it simple. And as you can see, we have to make some of the areas darker again. And here there is some drop shadow, although it's not that visible. You can make the edges darker and then the middle brighter to show the form of the eyeball. We add some slightly dark value at the core of the eyelid, the bottom eyelid, just a little bit. Okay, the drawing is over. The more details you add, the more time it's gonna take you, but the most important part is already done. You can spend more minutes to add more details and make it more realistic. Okay guys, I'm gonna stop here. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate that you've watched the video to the end. If you've learned something from this content, smash that like button and subscribe if you did not do so. Check me out on Patreon. I upload 1 hour video demos every week, full portrait. You can learn a lot of things there. Thanks so much guys. I really appreciate. See you in the next video. Bye.